So welcome back. If it's your first time here, kindly show me some love by liking this video. I'm just chilling here in the village of Africa. You can have a look at how villages look in Africa, because most of my viewers don't come from Africa. Now, Traoré has just done some tremendous transformation in Burkina Faso. He has delivered 4 locomotive trains. Now, the main issue is most people say that these locomotive trains are old because nowadays people don't use locomotive trains. Why? They have just jumped into electrical trains. This one is not an issue. Let's just have a look at this video on how these locomotive trains were delivered. Then when we come back, we can now react to the video exclusively. Let's watch this.
4 new GL30 type locomotives were presented to the public and put into service on February 16th. The acquisition meets the need to boost the economic corridor and modernize the rail transport sector in Burkina Faso, an investment that cost around 7 billion CFA francs. We discussed this with Ibrahim Traoré and Moumoun Barou.
It continues the gradual modernization of its rolling stock. Mikhailo Sidibe, Minister of National Construction and train conductor for a day, is here officially launching the commissioning of 4 brand new locomotives. These new, latest generation machines are equipped with computerized control systems, onboard diagnostic devices, and advanced safety equipment to revive rail transport. According to the Director General of Sitarai and the company's partners, these locomotives, with a power of about 3,000 horsepower, can transport 1,500 gross tons. Thus, they meet the needs for modernization and sustainability of the railway system, serving the economies and populations of both countries. Brother nations, Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso.
We are the umbilical link, as the minister said. Between the two peoples, we want to remain that link that brings the two nations closer together in brotherhood. And to build this economy, which is one of the leading ones in West Africa, by having a functioning railway, which is, I tell you, it has been operating since 1904, and it is our generation today that is here, so that we can pass it on to future generations.
It is a strategic investment, but it is also an investment that meets the needs of the population and the needs of economic operators. We are fortunate to have an Italo-Swiss shareholder who believes in Africa and who is actively supporting the growth of our countries. And we are here precisely to move forward and enable the growth of the entire Ivorian and Burkinabe economy.
This is the strengthening of Sitarai's rolling stock. It was highly anticipated by the Burkinabe authorities. According to Minister Sidibe, this will certainly contribute to the momentum of positioning the railway as a lever for the country's economic development.
The government is committed to developing transport infrastructure in general, roads, but also and above all, the railways, in line with the enlightened vision of our comrade, the President of Faso. We are committed to modernizing these railway infrastructures, which represent a reliable and credible alternative for freight transport and mass transit. As you know, we are a landlocked country, and so most imported goods arrive via this transport corridor, whether by road or by rail.
The acquisition of these new locomotives is a powerful symbol for the expansion of railway activities between the two countries. According to the top officials of Sitarai, 260 flatbed wagons are being acquired, with the determination of both states to give new momentum to the railway transport sector.
One of the things that Traoré said when he assumed power in 2022 was that, number one, he wanted at least to make sure the Burkinabes, the people of Burkina Faso, they live at least a modern life. Because when he assumed power, people are living very backward life, because Traoré himself said that people are living at least in the 18th century. So he focused more on infrastructural development, building of roads, schools, hospitals, and making sure that people are living at least a modern life. Now, you can also remember that in January this year, Traoré said that one of the things that he's going to focus on this year, this 2026, was, number one, to make sure Burkina Faso was connected, roads everywhere, airports are being built, and these are some of the things that we can see by ourselves. Now, delivery of 4 locomotive train, of course, it does not sound so classy, But at the level of Burkina Faso, that is something amazing. We as Africans, we are proud of it. Burkina Faso is a landlocked country. So they need goods to be transferred from one country to Burkina Faso. So these are the trains that will be in use to delivering goods from one country to Burkina Faso. Next. Now, people also need to connect. Even though this one, the trains are not electrical, they can use these locomotive trains to move from one point to another. At the end of the day, the economy is growing. So there is no way we can lament Traoré on these locomotive trains, because a good number of African countries are still using locomotive trains. Take a good example of Kenya. Kenya is kind of good when it comes to economy, but they are using locomotive trains. So this one is a big win for Burkina Faso as a country and the Burkinabes as people, because it shows that Traoré indeed is going to catapult this country to another level as far as development is concerned. Most of these developments, they are not done by money that are borrowed from the IMF, no. Most of this development are done by the Burkinabes themselves. So they have this, the country's kitty, the Faso Mebo, if I'm not wrong, where anyone can contribute to this kitty to the development of the nation. So most of this development are done by this Faso Mebo initiative. Same to these locomotive trains. Some of the funds that were used to purchase these trains, they came from the Faso Mebo initiative. The roads within Burkina Faso, the hospitals within Burkina Faso, all of that, they come from this initiative called the Faso Mebo, where you and me, Africans of goodwill, can come together, contribute to the kitty, and at least make sure that Burkina Faso is going to another level in matters development. This is a good example to Africans. This is a good example to leaders and the emerging leaders of Africa. So they have to emulate what Traoré is doing, so that at least for them too, they need to make sure that their country are being catapulted to another orbit level in terms of development. Now, Traoré is a leader who is mostly young, number one. But number two, Traoré is seen as a dictator because, number one, Traoré never came into power democratically. He was never elected. Traoré was never elected. So people dubbed him as a dictator, which is also good because number one, even if he is a dictator, we can see what he's doing. We can see development in Burkina Faso. So he's a good dictator. You can remember even in the African Union, just concluded two weeks ago. So he was never invited to the African Union to give a speech. The main reason was, number one, he is a dictator, as they dub him. He's a dictator. He is also dubbed as a leader who does not support the Western countries. So he wants Africa to unite, something that most African leaders are against, because they are in one way or another profiting from the West. So Traoré is seen as a traitor, is seen as a dictator, but the people of Burkinabes, or the people of Burkina Faso, they are seeing him as a messiah, as a savior of this generation.